So another very prominent truth is that we are unrighteous in our speech. We are unrighteous in our speech. Again, God the Father is the perfectly righteous one who communicates his righteous standards. We talked about how we are unrighteous in our hearts, but it bubbles up into our mouths, swirls around our tongue, and comes out in the way that we talk to people. So, Van, would you read Romans 3, verses 13 and 14?
Yeah, this is a pretty vivid description here. It says, "Their throat is an open grave. They deceive with their tongues. Viper's venom is under their lips. Their mouth is full of cursing and bitterness."
And Jesus said in Matthew 12, verse 34, when confronting the Pharisees, he said, "You brood of vipers, how can you speak good things when you are evil? For the mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart." So, Van, we could go a number of different directions here, but in your life, in what way or ways do you fall short of God's righteous standard in your speech?
Yeah, well, let me start with saying I'm guilty. I mean, for the longest time, I can remember battling with cursing, swearing, and I thank God for men that are like-minded, that encourage me to do better. I mean, there was a point in my life where I would say swear words and not even know it. It was so embedded in me, so much a part of my vocabulary. And then even apart from that, I think a big one for me with speech was, or is today, a lack of encouragement, especially with my wife, Becky. And we've talked about this, and I'll nitpick at the things that she's not doing versus encouraging her for the things that she is doing, and it's hurtful, and it's something that I'm working on.
I appreciate your honesty. We could go on and talk about gossip. We could go on and talk about slandering, speaking against people, and just being really negative and critical about the people in our lives. But one that I want to talk about now is sarcasm. And sarcasm is using humor in such a way where you say, "Oh, I know you so well. I know you so well that I'm going to make fun of the way you look, the way you talk, your education, etc. Make fun of any part of you and your family and mask it within the veil of humor." But at the end of the day, it is and can be incredibly mean-spirited. It's a mechanism by which we say, "Hey, I know you so well, come close." But then simultaneously, we're pushing people away as we make fun of them. And then ironically, Van, what I found is that if you're saying, "Hey, I know you so well," but then you're making fun of people, particularly as we do that publicly, is there any way that that person is really going to want to open up to us if we're, again, consistently making fun of the way they look, talk, dress, education, jobs that they have or haven't had, etc.? So it's an incredibly unhealthy mechanism that I learned in my family of origin. And even though I became a Christian when I was 20 or 21, it was probably 5 or 7 years or so before God exposed that sin in my life. I had a female friend, not a romantic friend, but a female friend that said in seminary to me, "Jay, I don't know that I can be your friend anymore because you're just so sarcastic and it hurts."
Wow.
Yeah, and it was at that point, maybe I was 25 or 26 years old, that I thought, "Oh my goodness, this is a deep pattern in my life," and I had never confronted it until I saw how much it was hurting people. So whether it's Van's examples or what I just shared, that's an example of how out of the heart it bubbles up into our mouths and then comes out. And not only does our unrighteous speech damage our relationships with other people, but ultimately it's dishonoring to God himself because he is the righteous standard.